So one of the changes we made in 2010, institutional research at UNB now is part of the resource planning and budgeting team. And they've decided to start, okay, enough of the training wheels of hiding all the faculty data from each faculty. Let's start sharing the data between the faculty. This is where they put all the survey data so they can see USC data and some of the things. And again, because they love metrics. So what you're seeing now, which was novel for us, we had information on all the faculties here, which anybody in any faculty can see. And then to show you what's here, there's not a ton of data. Pick Renaissance College because we brag about them. They don't get mad. So this is the type of data that I provide to all the faculties. So they get their benchmarks for their faculty compared to university average. Okay, so in this case, RC is Renaissance College, so in red you're seeing the 2010 data, blue is the faculty as a whole, and then again, as I talked earlier, the 90th percentile for the US is the goal. So Renaissance College in 2010, again, here, just slightly over the 90th percentile, above, here actually below, sorry. Right at 90th percentile, slightly below. So we're not afraid to show them. So. Senior year benchmarks, above, by grade, above and above. Okay. And the other thing is, then we look at the sample size. So first year, 26 students, that's our whole cohort. So almost every first year student did it. The senior year, 9 to 10, so that's about just over half their cohort. So it's a very high participation rate, so we're really, really satisfied with their data. And then again, one of these sheets goes to every dean. Used to be I just give them to the dean. Now we're putting them on the website. Now everybody on campus, who's faculty, can see this. Another thing that this is driving, there's a new initiative at UNB. It's a committee for measuring what we call a student experience. We're trying to get at this whole idea of trying to pull all together all these different committees. And one of the, so I stole it from their presentation. We realized this is all the different kinds of data we're collecting at UNB, and none of it's linked. So one of the things we're trying to do within privacy, respecting privacy, try to find, okay, we're collecting all of this data, how do we find ways to learn from this data? The other thing this is driving is recently, one of the recommendations going to come from this committee is to start clamping down the number of surveys we do. Because we've started identifying how many surveys are happening, and we're getting into survey fatigue. And for instance, this spring, we shot ourselves in the foot. We did NSSE in the spring, we also did USC. And I was getting emails from students saying, these are the same surveys or not? And St. Mary's was a little bit more forewarned. They didn't do CUSC this year to make sure they didn't hinder their numbers with NSSE. But when you start putting them all down and start looking at what's in the data, we start realizing, okay, we don't need to do all this. We've just been doing them. And then you get forced into doing McLean's, you get forced into doing Globe and Mail, whether you want to or not. Or should say shamed into doing them. So one of the goals that we talked about from the Student Experience Committee is try to identify data points we need, identify which surveys have them, and then start saying, okay, if someone comes up with a new survey and say, okay, well, we already know this data point in this survey, so no, we don't need to do that survey. And try to avoid some duplication. And then on surveys where we have common fields like student numbers, let's try to cross-pollinate our data and see what we can learn. And that's one of the things that now the NSSE Institute is strongly recommending to people is look at your other data sets and see what you can learn from combining them. So I showed you earlier when we looked at persistence data from the registrar's office compared to the NSSE, we started to see some correlations. So this is where we're trying to go with this. At the same time, being driven to protect privacy. It's like, so there's a bit of a dance there. We don't want to make sure we have too much data on one student in one spot. Because yes, it's a student number, it's secret, but so I'm sure going down the road we're probably going to end up changing maybe a double-blind system and so on because we're getting worried. But for us, this information gathering point was just to realize how many surveys we do, which we had nobody seemed to know, no one knew on campus. And then going forward, and nothing happens until someone's in charge. Someone's going to be in charge of surveys, and someone's going to actually be. Then what will happen is, like a lot of things, you'll have to get approval to do a survey. That's what's coming forward. And then we'll actually be able to rein in what's happening with some of these surveys. Because now, you use SurveyMonkey, anybody can do a survey. And whether it's a student survey in NSSE, well, we think NSSE is a little bit more important than someone's class project. But the student getting asked to do the survey is just a survey. And so what happens is they just opt out, right? They do so many surveys that can't be bothered, not doing it anymore.